So what I was saying is if I were to change which mesh I have selected, and because this mesh up top is only being controlled by these top joints, remember? So if I go back to my paint skin weights tool by pressing Y on my keyboard, I'll see a list of only the top joints of my joint hierarchy, because they're the only ones that are affecting this mesh. Okay, now I'm going to try to give a quick rundown of all of the options in this tool settings for the paint skin weights tool. And then probably tomorrow, well, definitely tomorrow we'll have to go through and actually use it. Okay, but this will probably be the video that you want to refer to most. Yeah. Well, the next one will have our method, so you'll want to watch it too, so you can understand the concept. But this is the nitty-gritty of how things work. Okay, so first of all, we can list these bones by alphabetical or by hierarchy. I recommend doing the hierarchy, or you can do it flat, where I don't even know how it makes that decision. But I like to do it by hierarchy. You have a few options here. I'm not going to show you all of these. Yeah. So, but I will show you this one. This is called the weight hammer. And what that does, if you click on that, based off of your selection, it will average the weighting information for the vertex that you have selected by querying the weighting information for its neighboring vertices and using those to average out the weighting information for the vertex selection you have. And I know that's really confusing, but it hopefully will make sense, because we'll be using that tool. Not in this sense. That will be one of our other extra credit assignments that will speed up things dramatically. So you can switch to select mode instead of paint mode, or paint select mode, if you choose, without leaving this tool. So it allows you to select a mesh without leaving the tool. That can be kind of handy sometimes. You can go to paint select mode, which, it doesn't do much good unless you're in vertices. But I can add to the selection. I can change the size of my brush by holding down B. That's true for any time you have a brush in Maya. So I'm painting to add to the selection. I'll go back to paint mode, and now I'm only working on these particular vertices that I have selected. I'm not even sure what this does. I'll select geometry. But now we have these paint operations, and these are going to be really important. What you're going to want to use mostly is this add. Okay? And if you're really careful and you watch my tutorial really close tomorrow, I will enable you to be able to use smooth. But if you don't listen to my tutorial tomorrow as close as you thought you might have, then this smooth is going to be a nightmare for you. Okay? I don't ever use scale, and I'll admit I do use replace, but I'm not going to show you guys how to use it, because it becomes more of a pain than it is helpful until you get a good, proper working method. Okay, so now we have this profile. You can select how your brush works. I like to use the solid brush. That way, if my cursor passes over that particular area, then I can know that particular vertex that it crossed over is going to get the weighting information that I've told it to have. Now, the weight type that I'm painting is skin weights. Okay, that's what you want all the time in this class. You can also switch to painting like cluster weights or soft mod weights or blend shape weights. Anyway, there's a bunch of different things you can paint. We want to leave this normalized weights to act in interactive all the time. Don't ever turn it off. And using post is kind of is no fun. Okay. Now the opacity works a lot like in, like say, Photoshop. If I pass over a vertice, my opacity is turned up to 100%, and my value is turned up to 100%. So that the value being the value that I want that vertice to reach. If I pass over it, that vertex will be painted 100% to the particular joint that I have selected. So the cog underscore bind in this case. Okay, so if I set my opacity to 0.5 or 50%, then each time I cross over this, it's going to get 50%. If I pass over it again, it'll be at 100%. Okay, and that's because I had value set to 1. If I had value set to 0.5 and opacity set to 0.5, then because the combination of the two, the first time I pass over, it's going to get a 0.25 because it's 50% opacity, and I'm only trying to reach a 50% value. So it gets halfway to the 50% value on my first stroke over that vertex. And then if I push it again, it's at a full 50%. So I can keep on going over it, and it will add 25% per time I cover that vertex. Okay. Now this max value and this min value, right now it's showing me the full range for these vertices. So the 0 to 1 range. If I want to refine these more closely, then I can change this to say 0.5, and it's only going to show me, and this isn't a good illustration of it, but anything that's 0.5 is going to look as if it's, well, yeah, that's kind of hard to explain, I guess. But well, what this does, it basically restricts this value. Let's just put it that way. And then there's another place that, yeah. Okay, so we'll have to stop there for today because we're just out of time, and we'll pick up where we left off tomorrow. Okay.